Hello, long time no see. I'm so sorry for kind of being MIA for some months, but thank you for joining me again. My name is Alvina Quay from Mind Be Well. I'm a licensed therapist. I know today we are focusing on I don't know if you even want to hear why I've been gone, but if you do, you can just let me know and maybe I'll make a video about it. But today I wanted to touch on this new show. I feel like it's been out for for some weeks. Number one on Netflix, Squid Game. It was something when I saw it, I was like dying to watch. I feel like I was going to start watching it, and I will binge watch something like pretty quickly. And I know I had to wait on my fiance. We are both different in how we watch our shows. And so in that process, it took us a little bit longer to watch and really watching the show. And if you haven't watched Squid Game, it is something, like I said, on Netflix. It's a show that focused on our individuals that were in need of some cash. Some were in debt. I think I don't know if all of them were in debt, but they get invited into to play this game, a series of 6 games. And for each game, the winners win the prize money, which goes into this big piggy bank that is placed like in the middle of this room that they all like eat and sleep in. But there's a little problem. These are children's games that, like, when you play as a child, or when you play games, if you lose, you get to sit out. Not this game. With this, if you lose, you basically get zapped. You die. And so this was something that I feel like the players did not know and weren't expecting. It is something that they were given a chance to leave, which they did, but then they all came back. So it's 456 players, and I enjoyed watching it. I even cried on one of the episodes when my number one, actually his number one, the player that was number one, I thought he had died. Oh, that got me. But anyways, so in really talking about this game, in really watching this episode, the series, I thought it would be really neat to really pull out from this show just some things, some lessons learned. Just because this is an area that, I talk about mental health, I talk about self-care, I talk about wellness, and I feel like you can always get lessons out of certain things and apply it to real life. And so if you care to know more about the 5 or 6 lessons that I got from Squid Game, please, tune on in. Okay, so the first one, so lesson one, which was from Red Light, Green Light. The lesson here was, when overwhelmed, pause. To be able to think about the outcome of certain things, we need a pause. This game was really about following directions. If you moved after the doll in front of you said red light, then you'd get zapped. And so, when in overwhelming situations, it can be a challenge to really think about what those next steps are, what to do, what the plan is, because your head is filled with all this. There's this fear, there's anxiety, there's thoughts. And in this scenario, you had a situation where you had people trying to escape. They all got zapped. But for the ones that actually were able to move forward, that were able to cross the finish line, really it was about, okay, we got to get back to what we know we're supposed to do. First, we know that we need to follow the instructions. We know we need to be still. We know we need to calm down. And so applying this to real life situations when you are in those overwhelming moments, whether it's a relationship, it's your work, whether it's just things, a lot of things going on, you know, go ahead and pause for a second, because that allows you to have some mental clarity to be able to create some goals or a plan of whatever that desired outcome is. Okay? All right. And so the next game, the sugar honeycomb. And so I've seen that, like, some little videos on Instagram of people actually doing this in real life. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Have fun with it. It's fun to watch. Anyways, so sugar honeycomb, basically players could choose from 4 shapes or 4 things: the star, triangle, circle, and umbrella. And they sit in line to in front of the shape that they chose. And basically the game, they were given a needle, they were given a container with the shape, and you had to kind of trace out the shape in this little container that was a honeycomb. And basically, if you broke the shape as you were doing this, you would get zapped as well. And so in this moment, you are feeling anxious, you're feeling scared. You already saw what was happening in the first game, in that if you don't complete this, you're gonna die. You can't just sit out. And so what I got from this game was, and you tell me if you have watched this all of Squid Game, please let me know if these lessons are something that you feel like you got out of it, or if you had any other lessons or any other thoughts that came up for you in watching this. But so for this one, I thought it was important, or what I learned, it was just using the resources you have. And I don't know if you know about a term called internal resources, but basically near the end of players trying to get their shape out, one of the main players started licking the honeycomb to basically create a soft effect to be able to trace out the shape. And I think with this, when we are in situations, very hectic situations, think back to a time where you were busy with something, or you were stressed out with, all these projects coming your way, or too many people needing, things from you. And so in those moments, it's very hard, once again, to think about what it is you can do. And, sometimes it's really just using the resources that you have. And the internal resources you have are the psychological tools that you pull from within to be able to manage certain situations for yourself. And everybody's different in what those internal resources are, from how you communicate a little bit better, or the confidence that you usually have and need to pull out, or just being able to breathe a little bit in moments where you are just breathing higher up from your chest. Whatever it is, I think it is important to really use your internal resources, whatever they are. If you don't know what your internal resources are, this is a good time to really start thinking about what are some of the characteristics, qualities that you have, and how do you allow them to show up a little bit more in times where maybe you forget that they are there. All right, so the next one, tug of war. The lesson here was, tug of war is not always about strength, and I really thought that's what it was. I know I was reading up on it. So I was reading up on it, and it's just about like mental strength. We think that you put the strongest players together to be able to pull the other side to win. But this particular game, I never thought of tug of war like this, in that when the players were selecting other members to be part of their team, you had some groups that chose all men, you had some groups that had a mixture of men and women and also older individuals. And one of the things that I learned here is, and I've mentioned it in another video, is not believing everything that you think. And what I mean by that is that in this scenario, you see, okay, this is the game that we're about to play. And it's very easy to be like, oh, we're about to lose because we don't have all these strong players. And that's what I assume some of the other teams were looking at when they finally were able to see the game that they were playing. And it was very refreshing that my favorite player, number one, came up with this strategy, in that it really is about mental, toughness, mental strength, in that they created a plan, and it worked. And, it's just being able to create that plan on how you manage situations, because not everything that you think is going to be true. Especially if, it's, I don't want to say especially, I think when we start to think we already know the outcome of a situation, your behaviors start to match that. So if you're already given up because of what you're thinking, like it's not, like whatever that is, it's not going to go anywhere. But when you try to go into certain things with a different perspective, being able to take a step back to be like, okay, I know this is what I see, but what are the things that I can do to make sure that I come out, on the right side after this particular thing happens. And so, yes, that is the next lesson. Also, after the game of marbles, oh, this was the episode that had me, because yeah, it really did. But what this episode was about, and really the lesson here, was resilience. And so, and I think it's important to have that, when things happen in our lives, like being able to get back up, being able to push ourselves forward in some way, being able to not let an obstacle get you down. And the reason why I made this a lesson for the marbles game was because you had teams of two, where some players were initially losing. They're about to lose all their marbles. And at the end of the day, like, they were still resilient. Some of them were able to come out on top. Some were not truthful in the process, but just being resilient and not giving up, just because, like, the clock doesn't show zero, so don't give up, and I think applying this to life as well, like if there's an opportunity to have several chances to get to a desired goal outcome, why don't you create those steps? Why don't you create those plans and how you get there? If there isn't a final number or time frame on how you need to get something, well, keep trying, try one step. If that doesn't work, change it up. But it's all about resilience and not letting certain things get you down, just so you forget about what you're striving towards. Okay. And the last one that I thought a lesson could be applied was the glass stepping stones. With this particular game, the lesson here was, trust what you know. You had players that were basically second guessing themselves and really being able to see, like, which is the fake glass, which is not the fake glass, just so they can jump. And I know it's easier said than done, but you had this homeboy in the back that had this experience in glass making. I think that's what he did. And it's like he was able to get like the three players that were kind of near the end, over to the next game. He ended up dying, but here it's, trusting what you know. How many times have you been in situations, whether you're called on, you have a presentation, and you second guess the decisions that you are making, or you second guess, what you are saying, or you basically doubt yourself for things that that imposter syndrome, can pop in, but really it's having this thought of like, like trust that certain things, trust that you have this knowledge to be able to move from plan A to plan B, and, stop doubting yourself, and, know that you have things in you, know that you won't know everything, know that you can research things if you need to. But I think if you know certain things, like puff up your chest a little bit, like, speak up, communicate, but, yes, trust what and don't discredit yourself, because, this is important, as you maneuver through, things in your life, making sure that you have that confidence in yourself to be able to strive and move forward. Those were my lessons from some of the games, actually majority of the games from Squid Game. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you had any other lessons or things that you pulled from the game, this very popular TV show. It was nice watching. I love watching stuff like that. But also, if you have any other shows or suggestions for me, I am always on the lookout for, other shows to look at, but also just other things I can pull from anything else going on. But once again, thank you for watching. I appreciate, you, and, please, if you do like this video, you know what to do. But all right, well, I guess I will see you again. Bye.